Hello. Why would Intel Corporation do all of these things to silence me? One is Mr. Zhao was actually living in Lone Grove, Oklahoma. He worked at Uniroyal, Michelin around. When I was a kid, I was only 13. He was one of the people there working on the Allen Bradley ladder logic stuff, and he was upset. I remember, Jason Wade. He's like, we make him hot as General Zhao because they called him General Zhao, but he's not. He's not spelled the same because General Zhao's chicken is TSO, and they called him. His last name was ZHOU Zhao. That's Beyond Zhao's husband, I believe. And Beyond Zhao, I remember her. She was actually on Wisteria Street outside cutting roses in her front yard. That was Beyond Zhao. They were at Intel Corporation. And in fact, right before Google bought us, right before Google bought Motorola, Beyond Zhao showed up at Motorola, started working at Motorola. Then, um, after Beyond Zhao showed up, Google bought us, and then Intel Corporation did something secret underneath, under the radar, and they bought our tiny little group from Motorola Mobility. And then everything went quiet. Everybody just acts like they don't know nothing when they do. So anyway, if you look up, did Intel Corporation buy Motorola Mobility? They'll say no, no, they didn't buy its entirety and stuff. No, they did buy a certain group, a group of people. One of those people was Greg McGee. He calls himself Greg McGee, but he's affiliated with the Greg McGee. Greg McGee, he's affiliated with the catfish place out there in Love County off the Red River. He's Greg McGee. He was actually here in Lone Grove, and I remember him saying, "I'm the one who's going to do it. I'm going to be the one who punishes him." It's like, why? What did I do, Greg McGee? What did I do to make you want to torture me to death? So anyway, Greg McGee was there, and what happened was Greg McGee put a full-blown modem inside of an FPGA, and that's when Intel Corporation purchased our group from Motorola. And what happened though is Google bought us first. Most people went to Google, our tiny little group, and you can just look at the pictures of all the faces that went to Intel Corporation. That's proof that they bought our group. Hello, this is a small demonstration as to why you would want to use an FPGA to do digital circuitry on a board, or a CPLD, because you can reprogram those. For instance, this is the board I've been working on and showing you, and now I want to add on this rotary switch, so I have to solder it on, test it out, make sure it works. In an FPGA, they write a code that does it, and it's on a chip, and they just change the code over and over again. If I'm wrong, I have to rewire the board. I have to add a new part, take a part off. I have to do all kinds of stuff. It'll take days on a board like this. And an FPGA, they can do it in a matter of just a few seconds. That's all it takes, a few seconds. I'm going to show that and kind of show you what I mean when I say that. So this is like my main design. You can see that these bits work. That's A, that's B, that'll be C, and then that will be D. So I'm using 3 bits to control all of these registers right here. 3 bits. If I go more than that, then I have protected circuitry to where if I go higher on all those, it always goes to none. It only selects just A through D or none. Bit 3 is auxiliary. Then I have this side, which is basically the same thing, except it goes higher. It counts higher. It goes up to 9. So that's 7. This is 8. Here's 9. After that, it's going to go back to no output. Anything with it is no output. So now I'm using 4 bits, and I'm able to do more with it with just 4 bits. I'm going to show you another one here. This is the secondary design. So it's a little bit different. It acts different. You can see it's got an auxiliary over here, and it goes up to 7 bits on this side. This side is exactly the same. You can see that it's exactly the same. It does it. It has the same circuit. It's the same thing. It's exactly the same as the last one. It has my auxiliary bit. This one's different. It goes all the way up to 7, and I have my auxiliary bit. This auxiliary bit's by itself. This one goes all the way. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. That's a if you look at it, it's a demux. It's a demux. I actually have to look at what my circuit is because I get them mixed up all the time. But I'll just go back to the block diagram of the circuit and I'll show you what I have. So, and I'm just trying to show you how why Intel Corporation is doing what they're doing. So my circuit is basically the one that I show you on this board is basically this circuit right here. It works. I have auxiliary bits, so I have two auxiliary bits that come off. This is the part that has the 3 bits, but then I have two auxiliary bits that come off. If I wanted to change that design, I'd have to add more AND gates, OR gates. If I wanted, this design for the main design, I'd have to add all these chips, all these parts onto a board, wire it, and then make it work. In an FPGA, you just change the code. That's all you do is you change the code, and it's done. It works. So this board that I've put together here with all these wires, all these parts, and all this stuff, and I'm making it work. This is a 3-input, 4-output demux. The code, VHDL code, is right beside on my right here. It is that is a 3-input, 8-output demux. If I had the parts, I could make that, but I don't have the parts, and it would take a long time to put that on a board and make sure that it works. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, bad parts, stuff like that. Inside a FPGA or CPLD, they just program it and it works. And the importance is to this is around the year 2015, 2016, I started working for Tilfan inside the data center. I became the hardware specialist in the data center. They started putting FPGAs inside the CPUs. Sky Meadow was the project. They started doing it, and the board was called Cicada. It actually has an FPGA, and they were programming memory controllers. And anytime they had a problem, they just reprogram it. Have another problem, reprogram it. The reason I know about 3 transistors in an AND gate is because Tilfan kept joking. He kept saying stuff like they could steal other people's data. All it takes is someone to have like register 7C million and 7.2 million and maybe 8.4 million, 3 inputs tied to one AND gate, and then the output would be able to control. All 3 would have to be high for the output to can turn something on or off. Maybe they could turn a modem on or off, and then they could just erase it when they change the gateware update, and nobody would know anything. That's what he was joking about, that kind of stuff. Was he joking, or are they really stealing your data? I mean, I don't know what they did to me is real. They really did put me in jail multiple times to shut me up. I really did go to AQS Incorporated, and all of a sudden Laura Paul shows up, way overqualified for the job she's looking for. And then she threatened AQS Incorporated and said, if you don't fire him, Brett, then they were going to put them out of business. And it turned out they had no customers right after Laura Paul threatened them. They had no customers. So what does it take to make someone tell the truth so I can get a job? Is anyone going to tell the truth, or are you going to keep faking deaths to torture me? Whose death are you going to fake next so you can continue to torture me with lies? Who are you going to fake next? Anyway, I'm going to go. Just remember, when someone does something, they just smile to your face, They pretend like they don't know nothing. And that's usually your worst enemy, right? Intel Corporation. Intel security chief used to be like top dog cop at Austin Police Department, right? Right. Bye, Lobot. One last bit of information that might help in investigating Intel Corporation for attempted murder, possible espionage. Right about the time in which the multiple things happened. About the time Motorola was being purchased by Google, Byung Zhao showed up at Motorola. Then Google bought us, and then Intel Corporation bought our group. After a short period of time, they move us from the River Place Boulevard area into the Intel Corporation complex, down by Barton Creek Mall area. After that occurred, Bian Zhao was laid off from Intel Corporation. I didn't see her again for a very long time. And then around the year 2016 time, right after I started dating Han Wang, in 2016, summer 2016, Bian Zhao showed up at Intel Corporation. She got hired back at Intel Corporation because Intel Corporation purchased Altera, the FPGA Design and CPLD Corporation. Intel purchased them. Why would they do that? So that they can make sure the code never changes. They're smart. That's what Intel kept saying. We're smart, Brett. We're engineers. We're not like Enron. We're engineers. We're smart. He kept saying that. But he also told me something like this. They paid attention to Python, the code that people use for scripting. They had Python 2.7 and Python 3.0. They didn't fix the bug that they had in there because Python 3.0 would not work with Python 2.7 for a very long time. So everyone stayed with Python 2.7 up until about the year 2020. And that was after Intel Corporation fired me and had me arrested to shut me up, silence me. But now they fixed all the stuff, and now it's one Python. It's Python 3.14 now. They don't use Python. You don't have to use Python 2.7 now. Now you can use Python 3, and it seems to work for everything. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. Bian Zhao showed up again after they bought Altera. I wonder who they bought since then. I wonder how many companies they purchased since then. Anyway, I've got to go. Have a good day.